Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources.
I'm Kerry Fink. Welcome to Helping Seniors Television. This is the program that's designed to educate, inform, and connect you to the resources that will make a difference for you as you and your family are creating your own individual aging plans. We call it getting your ducks in a row, with the kind of the idea that everything we talk about should be something that you're able to work with to help you make your golden years as golden as possible. You know, Joe Steckler, who was our founder of the Helping Seniors organization, he always said, Kerry, it's important everybody come up with an aging plan. And for a while, I would scratch my head and say, Joe, I'm trying to follow. And if we finally clicked on the idea that if you think about a hurricane plan, because we live in Florida, we get what a hurricane plan is. It means you want a way to organize how you're going to react if they say the storm is coming your way. How are you going to be prepared? Are you going to evacuate? Are you going to get certain supplies? Are you going to board up your home? All those kind of things. Those are the things we want to talk about in an aging plan. We often, to make it a little bit more fun, call it getting your ducks in a row. And today, I want to talk a little about the Helping Seniors organization and the role that volunteers play in this. Just by way of history, Joe Steckler was the gentleman. He was a retired Navy captain, and I think he got his love for seniors by his last command in the Navy. He was in charge of the Navy's retirement home in Gulfport, Mississippi, and when he and his wife, Terry, moved here to Satellite Beach, what their goal was probably to be retired and enjoy some time after a great and successful and important service to our country in the military. And what does Joe do? He can't stay retired. He gets started with the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundation, gets that whole thing going. They call them Joe's Clubs to this day, a very important service in our community. And when I met Joe, he had actually retired from the Brevard Alzheimer's and was just tinkering with putting together Helping Seniors of Brevard. That's 15 years ago now, folks. And the thing that Joe wanted to do was put together a senior information line. And I'll never forget that when I first met him, he said, Kerry, he said, I learned a lot with Brevard Alzheimer's. He said, I learned a lot of families are challenged with cognitive issues. But he said, I've also come to realize every family runs into issues related to aging. He said, we really need a charity that's going to inform, connect, and educate seniors so they can get access to resources that will make a difference on that. So to that effect, for 15 years now, we've been running the County Senior Information Helpline. And I would love to introduce you to our guest today. She's really not a guest. She is the family here that makes this whole Helping Seniors thing roll, but her name is Karen Wernlund. She is actually the director of Joe's Senior Resource Center operations here. And also, she is in charge of everything that happens on the phone lines, working with volunteers. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, Kerry. It is so nice to be here today. It's a pleasure to sit and talk about our volunteers. They are the most amazing people. We have a team of 11, and I just cherish every single one of them. If we hadn't had them, we would not have had an event this morning, and our event was top-notch. It took all of our volunteers, from the food to the chairs to the tables, to making sure people had tickets, because we had 8 of our sponsors brought a door prize. So we're getting really big on our door prizes. So we had to make sure everybody had a ticket for that. And it was just a pleasure to have them here. But also, they answer the helpline 10 times a week. So it's a 2-hour shift. They answer the helpline. They give out resources, anything from affordable housing to our lawyers to our assisted living people. And if I don't have that resource, I'm going to run out and try and find it for you.
Absolutely.
And so we've had this group for about 6 months now. They're really our inaugural group, I guess I should say, of volunteers, and I would love to see it grow. And you can be a volunteer too with Helping Seniors of Brevard. You can reach us on our helpline at 321-473-7770, and I'll tell you even more about it. But there's so much to being a volunteer. You're at the events. We had so much fun at the car raffle last year. Oh my gosh. I had one volunteer come up. I want to do the wristbands next year. I had so much fun. They just tell you that kind of thing. And you can go out to all of the car events that we're attending while we're selling our car tickets. And you can go to any event that we have here at the center and help set up, help tear down, help welcome people. It's just a myriad of everything. And and also we have mailings going out.
Yep.
So there's a chance to do, we sit around the table in the conference room and laugh and giggle while we send out the mailing. So we try to have fun. And you got any questions for me, Karen?
I do. I was going to say, I'm going to rewind just a notch and say, Karen is the one who really pulled all of this together, because this is something that Joe had envisioned from the day that he constructed Helping Seniors. He said, Kerry, we got to get a group of volunteers together who can help us do the work. Because if you know one thing about Joe, Joe was exceptionally frugal. He was very concerned that always as a charity, and that's what we are. We're a 501c3 charity. The only reason we exist is to serve you. And so because of that, he was always railing against charities that would like pay out big salaries or go and what he would call waste a lot of money on things. He wanted to make sure that the money that was coming into the organization was really going directly to help people and for services that were going to make a difference. And so he had always envisioned a group of volunteers to help us. And Karen, you were the one who kind of architected and got the whole dream. It was like 12 years or 13 years into it. And then you finally brought it into reality because you were able to get a group, get them trained, get them organized. They love what they're doing. They love that they're contributing, giving something back. You make it easy for them time commitment wise, but you also did the thing that we were never able to do before, which was help gain a structure for it. So there was something very specific that you have a plan for the volunteers when they come in. So they don't have to feel like, well, I'm here. Do you just need me to sit around? You have a program for them.
I actually do. And actually the first 5 volunteers we had, so it always starts with an orientation. And Kerry is always our first speaker because I want them to know about the history behind Joe Steckler, who is our founder, and Helping Seniors of Brevard, who was established in 2011. So that comes first. And then I let them all know that it starts with 7 series of one-on-one with myself and them, because it takes time to be able to work with the phone log. It takes time to be able to work with the resources that are on the computer itself. I also have resources that are in a handbook itself. And we have found, I thought that it was going to be the best thing is going to be able to 4 times a year update our resources. And I'm just finding that even that is not enough. In order to have the top-notch resources in Brevard County, which is what Joe Steckler would want to have.
Absolutely.
We got to do it on a daily basis. So if the phones are a little light one day, then we're diving right into resources and finding them. And with each volunteer, you get 7 one-on-ones before I'm going to put you on the phones by yourself. But if you're not comfortable till you've had 11 one-on-ones, I'm perfect with that. And if you're comfortable, like we have one volunteer who was comfortable after 3, I'm like, you're on your own. Here you go. And we have some absolute, I'm telling you, what people did previously because you don't know, they come on as a volunteer and you don't know what they did in their career. And it's like their careers are more amazing. And then they want to come and be volunteers with us. And I'm just like, we're so lucky to have you because you already have a lifetime career of knowing how to work with the public.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is the differences between it's finding resources for you. And that's our main thing, is to keep the seniors in Brevard County healthy and full of resources that are current, that are going to answer their phones for you, and that are going to give out resources and help people. Because if they're not up to what I call Joe's standard,
right,
then they sort of go on down the road. And we've had a couple, not very many, because we probably have 500 resources available now, maybe 2 that we just sort of had said, nah, you won't answer your phone.
Yeah.
You got to go. So I never I gain more every time I work with our volunteers than they ever get from me. So it's nothing for me to give them whatever they need.
Yeah. It's a great group of people you've assembled. One of the things I wanted to point out is, it's an interesting dynamic because Joe, when he architected the idea of the helpline, he said, because I've been asked the question, and people will come up and they'll buy a raffle ticket. They say, okay, well, what do you do that's helping seniors? And I said, that's a fair question. I said, what we do is we connect the seniors to the information and resources that will make a difference. We call what we do senior navigation. And people who are from this area are pretty astute and say, well, there are things like that, right? There's a information line. It's called 211, very well written, very well run organization that is basically a referral line. People will call that number, and then I need a resource for, it's not just senior oriented, it's about anything. Where's the nearest beach? I mean, I guess they could answer that question. But the point is that what we've experienced in the Helping Seniors world is that a lot of times it's not simple like just here's a phone number, have a nice day. You actually end up having to make several different calls to try to make sure that, okay, we offered you this resource. Did that pan out? Do we need to look for other things? So I find out that you really have to do a lot of work beyond just that initial call to make sure that we're advancing the cause for that particular senior.
One of the things I love to do, though, with each and every phone call is, especially there are easy phone calls. I need a lawyer's phone number that I can send you an email. Here they are. There are more serious phone calls in which I don't want the client to feel like, here's your resources, bye.
Yeah.
Although it is the client's responsibility to reach out to the resource, I always want to know. So the last thing I'm going to say, either in an email or on the phone, is please let us know how things work out. And if you need any other resources, give us a call. We want to seriously know how your life is going, not just in a one-time deal. So we have many different people that we call each and every Thursday in our Stay Connected program.
Yeah.
And sometimes, so the girls, because we had a lot going on this morning, we had an event going on, and they were in the conference room trying to make the phone calls, and didn't get through to a couple of them. So after the event was over, then I reached out to a few of them that we call every week, and it's just like they're so appreciative. I always tell the girls, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, you're just chatting.
Yeah, let's talk about the Stay Connected program for a minute. This was something that Joe himself had wanted to see us do, and it was an outgrowth particularly. He'd always wanted to do this, but it became critical during COVID times, because if you remember, the disease itself or the virus was scary enough for all of us before, we learned how to work with it medically and all those things. It was kind of a scary time anyway, but then it was made worse because we were all told we need to isolate and stay away from each other. And so Joe had envisioned that we really needed to do something that equated to like a kind of like, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? Are you getting by? What else can we do that helped? And that was kind of the spirit. And because you were able to build up the team of volunteers, you were also able to get Joe's vision rolling of the Stay Connected plan. Explain exactly how the Stay Connected plan worked, and how if somebody maybe we're going to get to how you can volunteer later, but maybe you're a person who wants to be on that list of calls for Stay Connected. Talk about what it is and then how you get on.
So if you know someone, usually they live alone. Sometimes they don't get out very well. Sometimes they get out great. But it's those that are living alone that they want to stay in their home. Mm-hmm. They don't want to go yet to assisted living. That's down the road a pike. But they feel lonely. And we're there to just say, you call in the helpline, you say, it could be your neighbor, it could be your mom, it could be, it just, as long as they have permission to give out a phone number, then we'll call them once a week. And it just starts out getting to know you a little bit. And as we go along, we found out one guy was a rodeo. Yeah. And, you find out what they did for a living. And he broke 47 bones.
Wow.
So, life is a little hard when you're 78 and you broke
Can't imagine
that many bones. But, and they look forward to it, having a phone call. And it's so easy. If you just call our helpline, which is 321-473-7770, and say, hey, I have a friend that would like to be on the Stay Connected, or I would like to be on the Stay Connected. It's that simple. And you become part of our Stay Connected family, and we reach out. What we're finding now is not always just Thursday morning work for everyone. So we're adjusting a little bit right now. And it's important for us to say, well, what's a better time for us to call you? Because we man the phones Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So if it's something, I have 10, 11 volunteers. So it doesn't always have to be our Thursday morning girls,
Right.
although they are the ones that instigated the whole
Sure.
going again. And it's just very, very simple. And I want to know how you're doing. And basically, if there's food in the house, are you getting out? Do you have delivery? What can we help you with? Do you need Meals on Wheels? Just make it suggestions from listening to them. They don't know what they need. So it's kind of a finding out what's missing in their life to make it more complete.
Yeah. I've heard over and over, because the phone line gets a lot of kudos from people who say, I've called every agency in town. I've got a whole list of phone numbers. I call these people, I call these people, call these people. But you guys are the ones who actually pick up the phone and care. And so we may not always be able to have the perfect solution, but you're going to get somebody who's really compassionate and caring and trying to make a difference in that.
The one thing I hear so much, Kerry, is thank you so much for calling me back.
Yeah.
If they've left the message, and I just hear it constantly, day after day after day, that a lot of the businesses within our county, they don't have that same on him. And then again, this comes from Joe. Joe is a very personable guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wanted to shake everybody's hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to me, it's very, very important to have that vision go forward and not one phone call. Has one gotten through? Yes, I'm sure I lost a phone call here or there. But it's just reaching back out and making sure that if we don't answer the phone right away, we're going to call you within 24 hours.
One of the key things that I wanted to take a minute to get into was you mentioned something before about keeping up with the resource book. And I want to take a minute to just talk about that, because there are some great resources in our county. We just were fortunate enough to be published in the Boomer Guide, which is a wonderful annual resource that comes out. It tries to list everything that's good for you to know. There's a lot of great tools in our county where we ran across one from a very large charity that had put together a great resource book as recently as September. And one of the things that, Karen, I gave it to you and asked you, I said, are there some resources that we could add into our book? And this is to show the point. This is a huge organization really trying to do a great thing. And they had published this just in September. But as you started to vet out the different resources, there were already several that were no longer doing the programs that were there. And what it taught us was that you have to stay on this like almost minute by minute.
You do. You absolutely do. It's there's no blame to give to anyone. It's the nature of the resource. It's the nature of any resource. People go in business, people go out of business. You have new assisted living that I didn't know about yesterday that I need to know about. And then you have others that sell out under a new name. Now they're new management. Now they have new rules. We need to know that as well. Food banks is another one where every single, I would say hourly almost on a food bank is whether it's in or out.
Yeah. And I think that, we talked about it before, like really the most important product that we have in the Helping Seniors, or our job, almost job number one, is to make sure that resource book is as correct as it can be, because that is kind of the lifeblood that we have to offer to the callers. And you've done a really good job of really trying to stay on top of every time there's a change. Sometimes somebody will call us and let us know. I guess it's a feedback loop. Well, I call these people, but they're not doing that anymore. And then you guys are careful to update and make sure that, we know what everybody's doing.
That it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's sometimes it hurts because you even find out, because we all make typographical errors and so on. And sometimes it hurts because we made a mistake on a very important phone number, and somebody calls us back and said, that's
on the
number. And I'm like, okay, and immediately change it on it. But that's how fast it works. And you just have to look at each day as a group of new resources.
Yeah. No, I think you said it so well. And I think that's really the kind of the backbone of everything that you do with that senior information helpline is it's like those two things, making sure we have good people who really care about what they're doing, talking to the callers when they come in, and at the same time, making sure that the information that they have to provide is as up to the minute, up to date as we possibly know how to do. And so when you bring the volunteers together, there's a lot of things they can get involved in that. Then they can help us at events. They can help us. We do events here at Joe's Senior Resource Center. We're out with the car raffle, like you mentioned. There's so many ways to get involved. And the way that you have structured it, which is really the blessing to all of us in this, whether you're on the Helping Senior side, but also if you're the volunteer, is that you can give us just a little bit of your time and have it make a huge difference. Am I saying that right?
You are, because mostly it's 2 hours a week. And then after that, it's volunteers, they say they can't be here for a certain day. And I'm like, that's the nature of volunteer.
Sure.
You get to tell me that you're going to Connecticut or you're going to Jamaica or whatever. And I'm going to say, have a great time.
Yeah.
Don't forget to come back. So I want them to know how important their time is to me. And I want them to understand that I understand the volunteer position. And so it's basically 2 hours a week, but there's more opportunities. The car raffle itself, October the 26th of this year at the American Muscle Car Museum, is they all had such a blast. They're waiting.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that's a big day. That's an 8-hour day.
There's a few kind of all hands on deck kind of moments, and that is one of them. She's talking about the car raffle, which has always become our biggest fundraiser of the year. It literally creates about half of our budget that we need every year to continue the work of helping seniors. And it's just a great day. We get to go out to the American Muscle Car Museum. They open the doors and make that as available as our venue for the grand drawing. And it's always a great day. It's fun for the volunteers because we're dealing with thousands of people who come on out. There's great cars out there. It's just it's a fun day. But that is one of those like, okay, everybody that can be, please be there because it's all hands on deck. But if somebody is interested in learning more about volunteering with Helping Seniors, what are the steps that you want them to take?
So basically, it's I love your phone number and your email address. And then the very first thing we're going to do is I like to have at least 4 people to come to an orientation. And that's basically a left or a right turn for each of the volunteers. We have a volunteer that I'm still trying to get work in who they don't want to really do anything but go to the car shows.
Uh-huh.
So we're trying to work that in as well. But so the orientation, and like I said, I love Kerry to share the history of our Helping Seniors of Brevard. And then it's more or less I'm sharing with the volunteers what it entails. And the biggest thing that I need to lead with is it is a 2-hour commitment a week. And I do it so I have 4 hours every day covered, Monday through Friday. And I would like to have 6 hours every day covered. And so I have 5 openings for volunteers. And you just have to have a love of people, really, and be able to say, hi, this is Helping Seniors of Brevard. How can we help you? And figure out what it is that they're looking for. Much of the resources we used to have to give them out word of mouth. So you're giving out every address, every phone number, but we don't really have to do that anymore. We can do it by email because we're now online as well as a hard book as well. So they learn how to use the email. But by the same token, we've already talked to them on the phone. We want them to know that we don't want this to be the last phone call.
Right.
And so it's just a love of human beings and helping us all stay connected with each other and get the resources out there. Some situations are very, very sad. Some situations are very, very happy. And so, there's a lot of each. I would say that I would tell most volunteers now that it's it's sad, and I assume this is everywhere in the world, but I guess it's the more we know about memory issues, the more we don't know about how to handle them.
Yeah.
So it's becoming very prevalent that to the point where I have lots of the national out of Washington, D.C., the National Institute on Health, they will give me free information on all kinds of memory work and Lewy body and the whole 9 yards. So we have libraries here where all of our sponsors' information is put out. So if you come in and our volunteer is helping you in person, then we can go. We don't even have to give you an email. We can go and pick up all the flyers that are necessary to what your resources you're looking for. And also a lot of information on where do you go from here with the health issues. So that I would want them to know is that it used to be always affordable housing. And now I think the tides are changing and people are understanding that health has to be addressed.
Yeah, no, it's important. Well, I want to thank you, Karen, for taking the time to share on the volunteer programs here at Helping Seniors. Again, call the Helping Seniors info line, 321-473-7770, and talk to Karen or one of the great volunteers and say, hey, I heard about becoming a volunteer. I'd like to learn more. I'd like to get in on the next class and see if it's something for me. That's what I guess we would encourage them to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Karen, and thank you, viewer, for joining us this time on Helping Seniors TV.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniors.brevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.